Chapter 2. The Yoga of Knowledge. Sanjava said, to him thus overcome by pity, whose eyes were filled with tears and downcast despairingly, the slayer of Madhu said his speech. The blessed Lord said, how has this timidity and difficulty come upon you? Not proper for an iron, not leading to heaven, causing disgrace, Arjuna. You should never be a coward, Partha. This is not fitting in you. Abandon base faint-heartedness. Stand up, foe scorcher. Arjuna said, how shall I be in battle, slayer of Madhu, with arrow fights between Vishnu and Drosa, the two veritable enemies, slayer of foes? Instead of killing noble gurus, it's better to live by begging in this world, having killed gurus, desiring gain here on earth. I should enjoy pleasures smeared with blood. Nor do we know which of these two is more important for us, whether we should conquer or they should conquer us. These standing before us, the sons of Dristanarita, having killed, we should not want to live. We pity discouraging my being. I, uncertain and stout as to duty, ask you, what should be better for certain? Tell it to me. I am your student, falling at your feet. Correct me. I do not see what would remove the sorrow of mind, what dries up the senses, even of obtaining unrivaled prosperity on earth, royal power, or even the sovereignty of the gods. Sanjava said, thus having spoken to Harishka, Gardushka, foe scorcher, saying, I shall not fight to Govinda, becoming silent. Harishka, smiling, so to speak, Bharata, between the two armies, said to the dejected this speech. The blessed Lord said, you grieve for those who should not be grieved for, yet you speak wise words. Neither for the dead nor for those not dead do the wise grieve. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you nor those lords of men. Neither will be there a time when we should not exist. We all exist from now on. As the soul experiences in this body childhood, youth, and old age, so also it acquires another body. The sage in this is not deluded. Material sensations, karita, causing, cold, heat, pleasure, pain, coming and going, are impermanent. You must endure them, Bharata. The person whom these do not trouble, powerful person, pain and pleasure being equal to the sage, he is ready for immortality. The existence of the unreal is not found. The non-existence of the real is not found. The certainty of both of these have been seen by the seers of essence, knowing that indestructible essence by which all this is pervaded. No one is able to cause the destruction of the imperishable. These bodies have an end. It is said of the indestructible, infinite soul that it is eternal. Therefore, fight, Bharata. Whoever believes that the killer and whoever thinks this the killed, they both do not understand. This does not kill and is not killed. Neither is it born, nor does it die at any time, nor having been, would it again not be. Unborn, eternal, perpetual, this ancient being is not killed with the killing of the body. Whoever knows this, the indestructible, the eternal, the unborn, the imperishable, how does this person, Partha, cause the killing of anyone. Whom does one kill? As the person abandoning worn-out clothes takes new ones, so, abandoning worn-out bodies, the soul enters new ones. Weapons do not cut this, nor does fire burn this, and waters cannot wet this, nor can wind dry it. Not pierce this, not burn this, not wetted, not dried, eternal, all-pervading, stable, immovable is this everlasting, unmanifest this, it is said. Therefore, knowing this, you should not mourn. And if you think this is eternally born or eternally dying, even then, you mightily armed, you should not mourn this. Death is certain for the born, and birth is certain for the dead. Therefore, you should not mourn over the inedible. Beings have unmanifested beginnings, manifesting middles, parata, unmanifested ends again. What complaint is there? Marvelously someone sees this, and marvelously another thus tells, and marvelously another hears this, but even haven't heard, no one knows this. This embodied soul is eternally inviolate in the body of all Bharata. Therefore, you should not mourn for any being. So, looking at your duty, you should not waver, for there's no greater duty than battle for the Krishnaya, and good fortune gaining the open door of heaven. Happy Karishas, Bharata, encounter such a battle. Now, if you will not undertake this combat duty, then having avoided your duty and glory, you will incur evil, and also people will relate your perpetual dishonor, and for the esteemed dishonor is worse than dying. The great warriors will think you withdraw from battle out of fear, and having been through much of among those you will be held lightly, and warriors will say to you many words not to be spoken, deriding your strength. What is more powerful, painful than that? Either killed you will attain heaven, or conquering you will enjoy the earth. Therefore stand up, Garitera, resolved to the battle, making pleasure and pain the same, gain and loss, victory and defeat, then engage in battle. Thus you will not incur evil. This initiation described for you in Sankara philosophy. Learn this in yoga, unified by initiation, pata. You should avoid the bondage of action. There is no lost effort here. No setbacks occur. Even a little of this discipline protects from great fear. Self-determined intuition is one here. Kuru's joy, but intuitions of the as resolute many branch so endlessly. This flowery speech which the ignorant proclaim, delighting in the letter of the scripture, Pata, saying there is nothing else. Minds desiring the highest heaven, offering birth as the fruit of action, performing many special rituals aimed toward enjoyment and power, attached to enjoyment and power, whose thoughts were stolen away by this, to those self-determined intuition and meditation is not granted. The scriptures categorize three qualities. Be without the three qualities, Arjuna, without opposites, eternally staying in goodness, without possessiveness, soul established. As much use as in a well of water overflowing everywhere, so much are the scriptures to an enlightened Brahmin. and action alone is your claim, never to its fruits at all. Never should the fruit of actions be your motive. Never let be attachment in your inactivity. Staying in yoga, do your actions, letting go of attachment, wealth winner. Seek refuge in intuition. Pitiful are those motivated by fruit. Unified intuition here lets go of both good and bad deeds. Therefore, unite yourself with yoga. Yoga is skilled in action, letting go of the fruit of action, the intelligence of unified intuition, liberated from the bondage of both. Go the way free from misery. When our intuition passes beyond the confusion of delusion, you will become indifferent to what you hear and to what has been heard in Scripture. Disregarding Scripture when in meditation, your immovable intuition will stand unmoving. Then you will attain union. Arjuna said, "What is the definition of one who is steady in wisdom, steady in meditation, kasvava? How should one steady in thought speak? How should one sit? How should one move?" The blessed Lord said, "When one gives all his desires emerging in the mind, pata, satisfied in the soul, by the soul, then one is said to be steady in wisdom. Whenever in pain is free of mental anxiety, in pleasure is free of desire, departing from passion, fear, and anger, steady in thought is called a sage. Whenever is without attachment in all things, accepting this or that, pleasant or unpleasant, neither liking nor disliking, the wisdom of this one is established. And then this one withdraws like a turtle all its limbs, the senses from the objects of sense. The wisdom of this one is established. Objects turn away from the embodied one, who is fasting except favor. Even flavor turns away from the one, seeing the supreme. Karyuta, tormented sense forcibly carry away the mind, even of the striving person of learning, restraining all those. One should sit unified with me in the Supreme, whose senses are in control. The wisdom of this one is established. From a person's contemplating objects is born attachments to them. From attachment is born desire. From desire is born anger. From anger comes delusion. From delusion, memory wandering. From memory wandering, loss of intuition. From loss of intuition, one perishes. Lust and aversion eliminated, but in gaining objects with the senses, the self-governing by self-control attains tranquility. In tranquility is born cessation of all one's pains. Having clear thoughts, quickly the intuition becomes steady. There is no intuition for the undisciplined, and for the undisciplined, no concentration. And without concentration, no peace. Without peace, where is happiness? When the mind is led by the wandering of the senses, then it carries away wisdom, like the water, like the wind, a ship on the water. Therefore, mighty arm, the one whose senses are completely withdrawn from the objects of sense, the wisdom of this one is established. What is night to all beings in this? The restrained is awake. What beings are awake in? That is the night of the sea and sage. Just as waters dissolved in the ocean, filled, unmoved, still, so too all desires dissolve in the one who attains peace, not in the desire of desires. The person who given up all desires, living free from longing, without possessiveness, without egotism, this one attains peace. This is a holy state, Prata. No one attaining this is deluded, steady in the even at the time of death. One reaches holy nirvana. Commentary. The main theme of this chapter is how to attain the state of yoga or union with God through the paths of knowledge and action. It also deals with the nature of the soul, the duty of a warrior, and the characteristics of a wise person. The chapter begins with Krishna scolding Arjuna for his calories, and sorrow, which are based on ignorance and attachment. He tells Arjuna that he should not grieve for those who are immortal, as the soul never dies, but only changes bodies. He explains that the soul is eternal, indestructible, and unchangeable, and the body is only a temporary vehicle for the soul. He also says that death is inevitable for those who are born, and birth is inevitable for those who die. Therefore, one should not lament over the inevitable. This is the essence of Sankhya Yoga, or the Yoga of Knowledge, which investigates the nature of the self and the universe. Krishna teaches Arjuna that there are two realities, the eternal reality of the soul and the changing reality of matter. The soul is pure consciousness, while matter is comprised of three modes of nature, Satya, Rajas, and Tamas. The soul becomes entangled in matter due to ignorance and desire, and suffers from birth, death, and rebirth. The goal of Sankhya Yoga is to realize one's true identity as the soul and detach oneself from matter. Krishna then reminds Arjuna of his duty as a warrior, which is to fight for righteousness and justness. He says that Arjuna should not be attached to the results of his actions, but should perform them as a service to God. He says that by doing so, Arjuna will attain peace and freedom from bondage. This is the essence of karma yoga, or the yoga of action. Krishna teaches Arjuna that one should act accordingly to one's nature and duty without being influenced by personal likes and dislikes. One should also act without egotism and selfishness, but with a sense of detachment and surrender. One should also act without expectation and anxiety, but with faith and equanimity. One should also act without violence and hatred, but with love and compassion. One should also act without pride and arrogance, but with humility and devotion. By following these principles, one can transform one's actions into worship and purify one's minds from impurities. Krishna also advises Arjuna to use his intellect to control his senses and emotions, which are the sources of desire and attachment. He says that desire leads to anger, which leads to delusion, which leads to loss of memory, which leads to the destruction of intelligence, which leads to ruin. He says that one who has mastered his senses and minds is peaceful and happy in any situation. Arjuna then asked Krishna to describe the characteristics of a person who has attained wisdom and transcendence. Krishna replies that such a person is free from attachment, free fear, and anger. He is content with whatever he has and does not crave for anything. He is detached from both pleasure and pain, and neither praises nor criticizes anyone. He is steady in meditation and devotion and sees God in all beings. He is serene and harmonious in all circumstances. This chapter covers two main topics: the nature of the soul and the path of action. It also introduces some other concepts, such as the distinction between the body and the self, the cycle of birth and death, the law of karma, the three modes of nature, the four goals of human life, the four stages of human life, etc. It also lays the foundation for other types of yoga that will be discussed in later chapters.